Evening everyone, hope you're well. Not too bad a week last week. It's a pretty curtailed preview because of the FA Cup, but we went through the card in League Two, I guess you could say that, by virtue of Cheltenham winning at Morecambe. It's about time Cheltenham started to pay their way. And they duly did, thanks to a 1-0 win. We talked up Kevin Ellison being a key missing influence for Morecambe. From a Cheltenham point of view, as always, I think at any level you get a real short time frame with which to side with a team, strike whilst the iron's hot, and when they represent a bit of value. And I think that's probably the case with Cheltenham, who already look a little bit too short for the visit of Hartlepool to Whaddon Road this weekend. So we'll gladly pass those over, but glad we got paid last week. Heading off into League One, first of all, I think Rotherham have had a pretty bad week. 2 cup defeats. I think there's more of a story to tell about those 2 cup defeats. They went out of the FA Cup to Rochdale last weekend. Steve Evans could only name 4 subs. He brought in a load of emergency loans just before that, well, in the weeks before that, and none of them were available. Plus, he had a bit of illness going through the team as well. So just the 4 subs. They took the lead in that, but ended up going out 2-1. Similar story kind of midweek, where there was still a bit of illness around. A few more players available, a few suspensions as well. Steve Evans will tell you that they were the best side lost when they went out of the Johnson Paint Trophy to Fleetwood in the week, which is no surprise. The truth of that is probably somewhere short of Evans' expectations. If you think about their form before this week, it was pretty good. 5 wins in 7, scored 4 at home to Gills last time out in the league, beat Coventry 3-0 away from home, scored 3 at Stevenage as well. Their emergency loans are doing really well. I'll talk those up in a little bit of a second. But they head to Bristol City this weekend, who Steve Cottrell's first home game in charge. They did beat Tamworth last week, still couldn't stop conceding though. I think that was there, well, I'll tell you, I won't think. 5 without a clean sheet. So I think Rotherham were more than capable of going there. Plus you got the little bit of added advantage of the 2 defeats. But if you have the opinion that those defeats can be excused, then I think the 9-5 Rotherham represents a good opportunity. A couple of anytime goal scorers I think come from that game as well. James Tavernier, he's on loan from Newcastle. Marauding right back, gets forward, has already opened his account. He scored in that game against Gills. Plus, kind of just reading through the reports, had a few shots on target as well. I think he's like a real decent value fullback. There's not many about in League One these days. He is, from an anytime goal scorer point of view, he's 12-1 every day of the week. So Cole's gone 20-1, which is just a price that... I always often think these prices are just there just to lure me in, but it's a price that deserves to get punished. Really, it's needlessly big, just a couple of points bigger than most other firms. So 20-1, James Tavernier. I wouldn't put you off Nua Dicko either, who's coming from Wigan, scored 3 and 3, was unavailable last week. But again, he's just a point bigger at 3-1 than he probably should be. So it's just a couple of prices there that are asking to be backed. I'll go over all these prices again at the end, because I know I don't normally do that, and that's poor of me. So I will tackle that this week. Next, we're going to go to League Two then. Another new manager. We talked about Steve Cottrell, Richie Barker. I think his appointment at Portsmouth has come at just the right time. November was a horrible month for Portsmouth. 5 defeats, knocked out of both cups. Obviously, Guy Whittingham lost his job as well. But like I said, it's well timed. Patrick Agyemang just coming back into the side. He scored at Wycombe last time out, just after coming on as a sub after a thigh injury. He's had a couple of weeks to get fit. Also good timing because they host Newport, who, well, we've talked about Justin Edinburgh and the good job that he's done over the start of the season. Solidified their place in the top 8. Of that top 8, though, they are by far the worst away record of all the top teams up there, doing well. 1 win in 10 in the league. 9 goals conceded in their last 3. I mean, I do think they've got the capability to keep it tight. I just think, bumper crowd at Fratton Park, getting behind Richie Barker, the returning Patrick Agyemang as well. Normally, you'd say kind of avoid Portsmouth, but I thought there was just a little bit in the price at bigger than 6-4, so 31-20. I thought was a decent shout for Portsmouth at home to Newport and their poor away record. And finally, from a goal scorer point of view, Matty Dunn, who plays for Rochdale, a player that kind of popped up on the notebook in his previous spell at Rochdale. They re-signed him from Barnsley in the summer, spent a couple of games on loan at Hibs. last season. His goal scoring record isn't too good. He's a winger by trade. I guess he just kind of flashed up this week. He was in and out, he's been in and out of the side kind of all with the start of the season. Most of his appearances from the subs bench, but came back in after the 4-0 defeat to Scunthorpe. So he started the last couple of games. Like I say, winger by trade, but Keith Hill stuck him just behind the front two. So Scott Hogan and Henderson in the second half away at Rotherham last week. I think kind of he's got a couple of shots off on target. I think he represents a decent shout. He should start after Rotherham won. After Rochdale won last week. I think 6-1 is a really decent price. So we'll add him to the Anytime notebook as well. So like I said, I never normally kind of go over the tips. So I write them all on a bit of paper so that you can all read it. Take a photograph of this if you like. There you go. Hopefully you can all see those. Have a really decent weekend. I'll see you on the other side.